good you
I mean,
don't
break the
know. That's
slang
good you
down so
don't
we can
know.
know it.
Well, when they do the sneaky link stuff, like again, they going behind closed doors, hooking up with each other, and then women, what does that do? When you going behind closed doors, he don't have to take you out. He don't have to show you off. So what I'm saying is you are negating your courtship and going straight into intimacy. Don't don't negate your courtship. Go on the date, have some fun. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm here to set
Also,
you.
too.
I want to set you. I want to set you people free.
Right.
Now, I mean, you single, they single. People got something to say. I'm not saying you be. And here's what gets bad. Here's what gets bad. When you add intimacy and you bopping around, that's one thing. But at the end of the day, man, the problem is folks aren't dating. And then when you try to make a commitment just based off intimacy only and realize you can't do life with that person because you just skipped the courtship part, y'all not cool. Y'all don't have a friendship. Y'all don't have a bond. I don't understand this. So
And
I
then
just
too,
want to set
Pastor
y'all free.
Canty, is it kind of because too society kind of set it up where men and women got to the point they didn't know how to openly, like back in the earlier days, people kind of flirted or talked or even just was friendly enough to say, "Hey, let's have lunch and this and that." Whereas now, and a lot of times too, with men with the sexual harassment cases and different things, they don't know how to encounter and women. So therefore, and some of the things that are set up, because even sometimes in church ministries with singles, the people when the men and women come, they don't really engage even in those ministries. It's more like church topics and this and that. And so therefore, a lot of
Oh,
times,
they engaging. They engaging. When y'all have singles ministry in church, that's a sneaky link ministry because it's never I've never seen one done properly. I've heard of a singles ministry done properly, how it had the right setup. But make no mistake about it, y'all singles ministry when they getting down with each other.
well,
So
I don't think. Wait. Can't let you get away with that one.
you
Come
can't
on
let
now.
me get away with it.
Come on now. No, 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 no. I
You
can't let you
talking
get
to
away with
me.
that
You
one.
talking to
No,
me.
no, no.
Stop it.
I
Stop
hear
it.
what you're saying, but I have a different opinion.
I have heard. There's only one church that I heard when they had their singles ministry. I was like, that is a great way to administer that ministry.
Okay, well, could you please share that's all I'm saying. But I can't go thoroughly along with. I'm saying you
Not
got your
all of
opinion.
them. Not
I
all
have
of
a
them.
different.
I
But
can't say
Pastor
all but a
Canty,
lot.
but
I
can
can't
you
say
give us an
all but a lot.
example? That's what I'm
I
saying.
can't say
Can we
all
get
but a
the
lot.
example of the one that you actually engaged that went well? Because these are the kind of things
I've never
that we
engaged
need
in
to
it.
have
I never
set up.
engaged in it, but I actually had polled some people and I had asked them. I said, if you have a singles ministry, could you please tell me what did your church do? How was it? How was it successful? And what it was really good about it was that the men and women, what they did was they actually did go on dates, right? And there was a third person on that date, and it was like kind of like this accountability partner that walked them through a journey of proper dating and things like that. They didn't just have events like singles ministries right now is this. The men are single, the women are single, and y'all all go on a big group date. That's typically what the
But
singles
can we
ministries are
finish hearing
doing.
about how this one that was
Yeah,
working?
yeah,
We need
no,
to know how
I'm
to
trying to get
get
you
those
there.
kind of
Most of
people.
them are you have a big event where you have all these single people and y'all all go on a group date. And typically, what ends up happening is exchange the numbers. Some of them get to meet, whatever like that. I mean, they all get to meet, but end up at the end of the night, a lot of them end up just going home with each other. But this particular ministry was,
Pastor Canty, I want to hear about the
but I'm
one
trying to
that
get
was
there.
that's
But this
okay.
particular
Get there.
ministry did not do that. This
Okay.
particular ministry, they coupled it with um uh not only just coming together with scriptures, but they did some kind of thing where they openly had dialogue and communication where if people were interested in each other, they kind of had like almost like a counselor or a mediator walk them through. They had each person had an accountability partner. They had this like I said, like a counselor or a person or whatnot. They didn't hide the interest and they were trying to keep all interactions above board. Even when they physically went out, what they would do is they even had like a married couple would go out with the single couple, and the man and the woman both had somebody to bounce ideas and thoughts over. Like they really walked them through, like step by step. And then at the end of the night, it wasn't like they were left alone. They each made sure that everybody went home their separate ways. Now, at the middle of the night, if they got together, I don't know. But it was a really intense step by step kind of growth with the
Okay.
group. And they weren't hiding interest. They were like, I'm interested in brother so and so or sister so and so. And that's what I loved about it
Mm-hmm.
because you do want people from the singles group to date. What I don't like about a lot of singles groups is they pretend like dating's not on their mind, but of course dating is on their mind. What I loved about it was the married people weren't intimidated by the singles. The married people looked on the outside and they like helped the singles get together. And so I
Yeah.
just really thought that that was really inclusive. I thought that was really wonderful. And we should talk about those things
Yeah.
because we want partnership and love to come together. But what we typically get is all the single people get together, have an event, y'all exchange numbers, and we're going home. What I'm saying is there are groups that are working. I have heard. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, that is wonderful. Like you are walking
Yeah.
this journey with
And
these people to be together.
yes.
And I
And
just thought that was great.
that's
So
why I wanted, because our time goes by so fast, Pastor Canty, and I respect and I thank you for sticking and bringing it back around, because where we miss the mark is we don't engage on the positive to help others who might be struggling in that area, to set those type of ministries up where they can be effective. We're all in this thing together, and we can't be jealous or non-sharing with one another, because as believers we want us all to achieve the victory of that. And so I want to understand, so you're saying that the marriage ministry also worked along beside the singles
and you got to,
ministry, is that what you're
yes,
saying?
and you got to. So typically, how I grew up, I would hear it. I'm gonna keep them single people away from my relationship. Them single people are the enemy. They're not the enemy, and that's why I was saying like, you know what I mean. Let's be real with what's
Mhm.
going on in our churches. So a lot of times when you hit me with that, I'd be like, man, I grew up, I watched it, I saw it, and I just feel like, can single people, could there be some interference if you allow it? But as a married person, you have so much that you can offer a brain. I'm gonna say this, even for divorced people, we treat divorced people wrong because divorced people, we don't allow them to heal and come to the realization of their own individual mistakes and what that individual done. So divorce should be treated like this in the church, not about what did that other person do to you. It should be individually for you because you can control yourself. What did you do that played a role in the separation and the division of your marriage? And when each person heals and talks about the things that they could have done better, right? And I'm not saying that that person didn't totally do you wrong. I mean, there are some people that divorce over abuse. There are some people that divorce over neglect or cheating, this and that and the other. But also, too, you want to make sure that you do highlight the things, even in all of that. What did you do wrong? Did you enable that behavior? How did you contribute to the demise of your relationship? And when you can heal individually, then you bring yourself not as a battered person to a relationship, but you're healed, you're resolved, you have forgiven yourself, you have forgiven that other person, you're no longer in bondage, and you come in a new thing as a whole individual that is healed and restored by righteousness of God. But because we don't do divorce things like that and we treat them bad in church, and
Yeah.
not all churches, but in general, these are the things I'm talking about that keep us separated. And it's just a taboo conversation, not with
But
Pastor
Pastor
Carey,
Canty,
but it just
I'm
is.
so glad we done stumbled on a we always see, this is why it's good to communicate and not shut down sometime when we don't hear what we want to hear. And this is why I love it about when we do openly discuss and the challenge comes for us, because we get to be honest. You opened up a can that needed to be open. You talked about the divorced person and them also getting back into the dating scene. Also, too, we have the widows. Sometimes they're left out there. They've been married 20, 30, 50, and now they found themselves getting into a whole world trying to figure out how they fit and engage. And so this conversation, even though it started, look at all the things there that we need to actively, and when we talk about even in the believers uh, ministries and come, we need to be more honest. We need to know how to take godly advice, not only from my own circle, but even others that have experienced it and have it set up correctly so that we can grow as a community. And another thing you mentioned, because I'm trying to think of all the things you said in my head, you talked about healing. And another thing, too, why these groups have to be, some of them are so, we have to be cautious with, because some people are thirsty. And a lot of times, too, we have to, when you talk about the healing, that healing has to be met, not necessarily in those groups, but you need to have something for the healing so no one won't be sitting out there thirsty, engaging or leering upon innocent people that are really trying to get back engaging and having a normal, loving, meaningful relationship, or even just sometimes to have a good friendship. Sometimes too, people just really want to just get back to knowing how to socialize and have a good male and woman friendship. Have a male mate. How do we engage? How do we do it without looking like we're out here trying to come down on a man or a woman? How do we get to? Some people have been out of touch and haven't had that relationship in a while, and they're just trying to get back and know how they fit to get that going again. And so this is why I'm glad this conversation came, because you'd be surprised how many are out there that really need to have good, earnest ministries and knowing how to engage, how to open up. And a lot of times we miss earnest conversation. So I'm glad that sometimes you bring about the opposing and hit it honest, even though it might turn some people to the point they think. But it's good because it's people that think like that, and you brought the thought that's unsaid to the table.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it's about, transformation, and especially in relationships. Um, I feel like, and I'll be totally transparent. Um, my marriage now, this is my second marriage. My first marriage, I got married young and it didn't last long. And I'm gonna just say it, the church that we were worshiping at the time, man, and I was a leader. I've always been a leader in the church as long as I remember. They did a complete disservice uh, to my first marriage. They were not helpful. It didn't help that they were related, um, into the with the family, but it was terrible. It was abysmal. Um, and I just feel like if we do, if we work with people and do it the way that the scriptures say, it'll be fine. There can be healing, there can be restoration, and all that. But we do a lot of mishandling, and it's just nonsense. And so I just keep it real, just from personal experience, being a leader of the church, how just disrespectful, how out of whack it is, some of the things that come over the pulpit, just some of the things that I've heard many ministers talk about where they're playing to the crowd and not preaching righteousness when it comes to relationships and love and commitment. Man, that stuff is whack. So you're gonna pay a price for doing stuff like that for people, and they know who they are. Those spirits of lust, and when you manipulate the word of God for your personal gain, and I'm not just talking about men, women have done it too. You won't believe the countless women that have come to me that have tried to manipulate the word of God just to get next to me. Like, no way, no way. I 100% do not like that. Don't come to me godly when you want to be funky. You want to come God you want to come to me godly but got freaky intentions. You cut that mess out. You cut that mess out. You try to come like a freak, just come as you be about who you are, but don't put God in that. You know what I mean? I don't like that. I'll have much more respect for you as a person if you just come real with what your intentions are, but don't put my God in that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that. Don't do that. And then I could politely say, hey, thank you, that's flattering, but no thanks. And then no disrespect. And I would have no disrespect for you. I just say, no thank you. But when you put God in it, like, that's so low down. So I just, again, um, that's just where it is. I know this conversation took a crazy turn, but it was a
Well, it
necessary
took a
turn.
turn that needed to be discussed. So what might be, what might seem crazy? No, really, what might be
So,
seeming crazy or off? We've got to learn to bring it to the table and talk about it earnestly and get the other viewpoint so we can come back together as a whole. So no, it took a righteous turn because it's time out for us coming against each other and keep walking in the wrong manner. We need to shed light on the things that are going on. We know it. We're mature. We're an adults, and we need to have adult conversations, whether we agree or not. The point of it, if we never talk about it, we can't stay on the road of righteousness. So we've
That's
got to
true.
know how to handle it.
That's true. Like my wife now, when we dated, I did not hit her with the I'm a pastor and holy blah blah blah. I didn't hit her with that. One, she known me since I was a child, and she knew me when I came up rising up as a youth minister. And even when we were younger, I never hit her with the whole godly thing to get anything lustful or sinful out of her. I just won't do that. I just won't do that. When I asked my wife out that I'm married to now, when I asked her out, I came to her as a man. Hey, would you like to go out with me? It had nothing. This is just me standing on me. Now I am a believer in Jesus Christ, but I'm standing on me as a man. As a man, I want to go out.
Mm-hmm.
Would you meet me? Would you go out with me? You drive your car, I drive my car. I don't know if you crazy, you don't know if I'm crazy, but we meet at a neutral place. You get in my car, we go to the restaurant, I'll bring you back to your car. Go out with me. Man stuff. So when y'all at the church and y'all not on business on man stuff and you exploiting God to get women's pants, hey, you soft. You soft, man. I,
And
I ain't
also,
gonna
Pastor Canty, I heard something you said,
do
and I need you to elaborate
oh,
on it, why you did it that way. You said, meet me. You said, you drive your car, my car, we meet. Was there a reason for it to be handled that way? Because sometimes we put ourselves in harm's way. So when you told her to meet you, it was a reason. And also, too, we do have to, when we have walked in certain lights or perspectives. So, what was the intent behind that?
because I learned that folks is crazy out here in these streets, and it doesn't discriminate. Like men can be considered. You don't know what kind of mentality a man is on. You don't know what kind of mentality a woman is on. And a lot of times, fellas, let me tell you, if you're single, the narrative will never go in your favor. 90% of the time, fellas, the narrative will never go in your favor. So you want to do everything you possibly can that as you're taking a risk to go out with someone and pursue an interest that you like them, try to do everything you can to protect yourself. One, everybody shouldn't drive up and roll up to your house. That's man or woman. You just meeting them. It need to be you need to put some weeks and months in that before people know your address. Now I know folks can look your address up. If they look your address up, you already know they crazy, so you cut that. But you can't you could never come to my house like that. I done lived on my own when I graduated from college. You know what I'm saying, Dr. Canty? Again, you know me. Boom, I ran right into living on my own, and I had my own apartment in college. So you're just not gonna roll up at my house. I don't want that. And every man, when you young, you made that mistake in your 20s, right? You just let her know where you live, and guess what happened? When it was over, you got the aftermath of them knowing where you live, and it was drama. So that was a lesson I learned in the younger days. I can't be an old man doing foolish young boy stuff. So
And
no.
then, Pastor Canty, as a, just you say that, I would like to say that same standard, because we both are talking from for the women. You can't just have people as a lady come to your house till you know what their intentions and who they are. And so I think that we're talking about safety now as well as a reputation, because sometimes too people can lie on you and say different manners to create slander. And you have to really get to know who you're dealing with. So those are some
And
pointers.
even then, things could still happen because even
Yeah,
then, when you think you know them, you still get bit. But
yeah.
you try to put in certain measures that you
Mm.
try to do what you possibly can. And I'm just saying, even with those measures, there still have been some hiccups. I'm like, man, didn't see that coming. So you always are fine tuning how you weed out people as you're dating. And it's not a perfect science, but you got to at least do the basic rudimentary things up front. Like don't be so
Mm.
excited that you just want to go straight to Netflix and chill.
Pastor Canty,
you
look at
can't
how
come there.
God worked this out. We started out with one thing, and look at how the Lord opened it up to conversations that need to be had. And this is, even though we know we weren't expecting to go this way, God has a way for his people to get a word. And if they only listen, we're there for one another, led by God. So this was a good topic, and it needs to go on. I'm sure somebody out there benefited from us discussing this, opening it up, and wake up KC on Mama's table. And this is what it's all about. We have to learn to get back to communicating as believers, and it just really as a people as a whole, even non-believers sometimes too. We need, because we're engaging with the whole world. We're not isolated out here. We need to know how to move. We need to know what ministries and how to come together and have conversations that are needed. And this that we talked about today, Pastor Canty, believe it or not, this is a needed, and I'm sure we could go on almost to closing and talking about this, because I know somebody's ear out there that is listening this morning needed this because God led us this way. So it was a reason for it.
It was, this was I consider this to be almost more tasty topic, and so I hope it was a blessing to somebody who needed to hear it. I want men and women to come together and really have real, sincere love, and if not love, uh, from a romantic sense, just good friendship. Man,
Yes.
I honestly,
Yes.
just good friendship, just men and women can be good friends, as long as you
Right.
don't cross the line and do things that are blurry, like men and women can be cool. I like I
Right.
said,
And not
uh,
feel like if you are sitting down with a man, you have to be accused of being in a intimacy with him. She could be a good friend. He could be. I mean, that stigma that's attached to if you have a good man or woman friend, you're in the bed. That is not true. We don't need to live by that standard. We need
you
to know
don't,
how to date, how to
but you
communicate.
keep it in the realm of friendship. Like you just
Right.
the success of a good if you got good friendship, you just keep it there. Don't blur the lines. Don't blur the lines. You can't do that. But no, this was good. This was good. This was good. I do have something
Exactly.
serious I do want to tell everybody I
Okay.
want to leave off
Let's
with.
go. Wake up, Casey.
This is in the news. I want to part with this. Um, Here not far away from Missouri in Iowa. This is a real story. I want everybody to look this up, and I want this to be on your minds, especially if you have children. But also, too, even if you don't have children, paying attention to the demonic forces and the plots of the enemy. Satanic holiday celebration at the Iowa Capitol forcibly canceled by the state, the group says. The Satanic Temple. This is going on right now, Dr. Canty. Iowa is just north of Missouri, right? The Satanic Temple of Iowa was supposed to throw a holiday celebration on Saturday, exactly 1 year after a statue depicting a pagan idol of Baphomet was destroyed uh, in the display at the state capitol building in Des Moines, right? But the state opted to cancel this event. The Satanic Temple of Iowa alleges that the Iowa Department of Administrative Services, the DAS, forcibly canceled their event. We have made every effort to work with them, the Iowa DAS, to ensure a successful event, but after over 2 months on the official Capitol events calendar, we have been informed that our event will no longer be allowed. The Satanic Temple of Iowa announced on its event page on Facebook Friday night. Members of the Satanic Temple of Iowa plan to sing, check this out, satanic carolers and hold a Krampus costume contest and do a satanic ritual. Okay? Check this out. Our goal was to promote tolerance. This is what the Satanic Temple is saying. Y'all got to get this. This is really going on. They said our goal was to promote tolerance and acceptance of diverse religious beliefs with the theme of finding a light in the
Mm.
darkness and welcoming the darkest nights of the year with joy and camaraderie, the post said. We are no stranger to obstacles in advocating for religious pluralism and freedom of speech, and we will continue to fight for the rights of Satanic Temple members and our local community. The Satanic Temple of Iowa did not respond to Des Moines Register request for comments Saturday. The Des Moines Register is a newspaper. More, check this out. Uh, so it talked about this. This is what the director of the Iowa DSA said in regards to the Satanic temple wanting this service. He says, after
Mhm.
careful consideration of administrative rules and the DAS policy, he said, I determined the totality of the event requested to include elements that are harmful to minors and therefore denied the request. So he denied it because it's harmful to minors. This is what Adam
Mhm.
Steen, the director of Iowa DAS, said. That's why he canceled it. Okay. So I want y'all to understand why he would say it's harmful. He didn't cancel it. See, I love this. This is really smart what Adam Steen said. He said, I canceled it because it's harmful to minors. And many people don't understand what he did. They are trying to go under the policy of religious freedom
Mhm.
because worshiping the devil, they've listed that as a religion and religious
Mhm.
freedoms, and there's loopholes. So you won't deny someone their freedom, you should allow it. Adam Steen, who understands what encompasses of
Mhm.
a ritual and who Krampus is, he goes on to, well, the welfare and the well-being of children are at stake.
Yeah.
Now, I want
Yeah.
y'all to understand something because the enemy is crafty, but God has given
Yeah.
us a mind that we are definitely smarter than the enemy. So I want you to understand the intricacies of how you can cancel it and combat this, where you stand on business, but also too, me as a Christian, I'm stand on righteousness. But if we go by policy, see, God has a way that we can
Yeah.
encounter. How is this harmful to children? I'm gonna explain why it's harmful to children because you have to know what you're celebrating and what this is promoting. If you call it a religion,
Mhm.
how does this hurt the children? So if you were talking about satanic rituals and Krampus, you got to know who Krampus is and what Krampus does to children,
Yes.
right? So let's talk about who is Krampus. Krampus appears in many variations. Most share some physical characteristics that he's hairy. He's usually brown or black, and he has foots that are cloven hooves and horns of a goat. His long pointed tongue drops out, and he has fangs. Krampus carries a chain, thought to symbolize the binding of the devil by the Christian church. He thrashes the chains for dramatic effect. The chains are sometimes accompanied with bells of various sizes. Krampus will carry a bundle of birch branches, which occasionally is to swat children. So the whole thing with Saint Nick, he gives presents to good children. This is a German, kind of coming from a German culture. Krampus is the anti-Santa, where Santa is rewarding children. Krampus would take the switches and he swats children. Not only does he swat these branches, symbolize him swatting the children. What Krampus would do on Christmas Eve, he supposedly travels with a sack or a basket. Santa has presents in his bag. Krampus has a sack, right? Here's what he does. This is to take the children, to cart them off and kidnap them. So Krampus has a bag to kidnap your child. And when he has your child, Krampus will do the following: drown your child, eat your child, or transport your child to hell. What are we talking about here? So Adam Sting says you are not going to do anything with Krampus or a satanic ritual because this is a demon that represents drowning your child, eating your child, or transporting your child to hell. And who knows what else the ritual. So this is the figure. The figure Krampus does that. If the ritual would include such acts as that, right? We don't need the satanic church practicing basically sacrificing children, right? And determining their value or their goodness. See, here's the thing about Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ says, listen, I know you sinned, but guess what? I'll forgive you of your sins. How many times are we supposed to forgive our brother Jesus? 7 times, 70 times a day. These are scriptures. Jesus talking about redemption and restoration, right? And Krampus is talking about, guess what? I'm going to kidnap you. I'm going to drown you. I'm going to eat you. I'm going to transport you to hell. Which one do you think is more valuable to children, more helpful? Forgiveness if you've
Mm.
made a mistake in Christ, or drowning or eating you from the satanic temple and their figure of Krampus. So I implore you, people, quit trying to be inclusive. See, this is what my prayer, Dr. Canty, when I prayed earlier today. Quit trying to think that you're going to adopt these things of this world and think that it's okay, and think that it is helpful, and think that it is fun and cute, or it's scary, or it's a novelty. They're doing rituals. What do those rituals do? What do those rituals open up? You jokers are got Harry Potter wands. You are buying sorcerer books at five and below, and at Walmart, and at Sam's Club and Costco, and you are opening stuff up. You are buying Ouija boards. Some of you jokers got Ouija boards wrapped up as a gift to give to your children, and you believe that all of that is fun and games. And then you want to call the pastor to come to your house. Then you want to call the pastor to go to the prison. Then you want to call the pastor to do a funeral or a ceremony on your loved one, when you have invited and opened the doors of hell and demons into your family, into your houses, into your lives. And let me tell you something. You played a deadly, dangerous game. You did not stand up. Listen, they doing this here on December the 5th in San Antonio, Texas. They had a Krampus party, and they had it on the news. There was a Hispanic Christian church, and it was only a few Christians that were out there. Those Hispanic Christians were by themselves talking about, we don't want no demonic party. On December 5th, they had a Krampus party down there in San Antonio, and after the parade, after the Krampus parade, they did a ritual. All the parades end in a ritual. Y'all are allowing the Pope and other people to open up portals. Y'all walking through bridges and gateways. Y'all think it's all fantasy and all fiction. And I want to tell you something. It's coming. But I ain't scared.
Well, Pastor Canty,
The
let
devil's
me
coming
tell
for
you,
you.
I
The
gotta hop
devil's
in here
coming for
before the
you
time run out.
because you accepted it. He's
Helen.
coming for you. You've accepted
Yes,
that. Your
yes,
soul, listen,
yes,
guess what? Your soul is going to go to hell for playing these games. There will
yeah,
be
hey,
no, do
yeah.
not accept no Krampus parades, satanic rituals, or anything of that nature. That is not about life. It doesn't symbolize life. It doesn't have an origin of life. Quit playing. Wake up. It's not a novelty. Get it.
Pastor
Get it.
Canty, I gotta hop in here. We only got a few minutes, but I tell you this morning, God brought a word on Wake Up KC on Mama's Table. You're absolutely right. Needs to be discussed. We should be standing up, and it's a game they used to play. Truth, dare, consequences, some, and it says, "Will the real Christians please stand?" We are so engaged in everything, but not in the things that such as what you're speaking of. And our children are going to school sitting underneath this nonsense. Also, they're doing this stuff, and none of the believers are taking a firm stand and say, no, we will not allow our children or ourselves to be indoctrinated and participate. And sometimes we fully don't understand it because we're not talking about it. Once more and again, the adversary is about imitating. He's about promoting unrighteousness. He's about being crafty. He's about mimicking the things that look like God. They take the things that we do, and you gave a good example when you talked about Santa Claus and the things that he's about, which we don't believe in it, but the activities, they're lining it up with our children with this crump thing. When you talked about the different symbols that are going on, and then talking about kidnapping, taking our children, brainwashing them, doing all manners of things with them, eating them. Come on, somebody. We're not talking about these kind of things. And we got to quit being so scary and get real. It's happening. It's going down. We're in 2024 as the year is closing out, leading to 2025. We need to have sound doctrine teaching, and we need to be able to talk about it, even if we agree or disagree. At least if we communicate, Pastor Canty, like you did today, it needs to be discussed. And even if it's hard conversation, we need to get ourselves ready to have an earnest conversation. Well, the time is tick-tocking. I'm going to put it back and Wake Up KC. But baby, oh baby, the Lord brought to Mama's table and Wake Up KC a conversation that we weren't looking for. You're listening to KUAW 98.5 on the FM side, and we want to let you know that we are cooking and smoking. We're here every Saturday from 9 to 10, Deacon Walker, and we just want to let you all know we're here. And you need to pay attention. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, let them know to get on this TV show and that we are not playing, that God has told us for 2025 to put our dukes up. Pastor Canty, I'm going to put it in your hands.
God loves you. So do I. Until next time.
Until next time, Deacon Walker, we love you, and Sister Walker and all of you out of Radio Land. Bye, Pastor Canty. Love you all. Bye. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
All right. All right, Deacon. I didn't even get on the tasty topic, man, but she, you, that's why you left. You know, when you heard her talk about